We're all working together to do one thing. It's quite the sort of like social experience.
It gives you great energy and you do get a great uplift.
The feeling that you got when everybody played the drums in sync.
It's a release of frustration and a gaining of energy at the same time.
It works, that's all I can tell you. I can't tell you how, but it just works.
We always knew that Taiko drumming was fantastic for people's health and well-being, but what we didn't have was any actual research or any proof. Prior to the pandemic, we were involved in a project with Clarendon Medical, which was the first time that we had used Taiko drumming as part of the health service, and it was such a success, it was fantastic. Led to us designing this programme, which was a more in-depth look at Taiko drumming in partnership with Ulster University researcher Dr. Gráinne McInerney.
My big passion is community research, and I work in a number of different community projects. Research is always focused on a question. So with the Taiko for Wellbeing, it was to see, is this something that can influence people's mental health and well-being? Our hypothesis was that we expected that it would be something that would influence people in a positive way, and that is what we found.
It was advertised under like a mental health 6-week programme. So it was like a start and an end. We'll see how we get on from start to finish. But I think we've got a lot more than 6 weeks out of this. I didn't know any of these guys when I started, and I kind of felt like, you know, when you're a kid and you go to a new group, a new youth club or something, I kind of felt like that when I was coming here. And the first night it was like, but it was absolutely fine. Everybody was on the same page and everybody just wanted to come and play drums.
The type of drumming that we do is a relatively new art form. It kind of came about in the 1950s, and it's called Taiko or Team Taiko. It is very much based in this group of people that you build around you and the community that you have to play within.
When you all start at the same time, you're learning at the same time, and you're sort of finding the same thing is very difficult. So when you're playing, you're just going for it. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong, whatever. It really helps you get over that sort of feedback you go through a lot of time when you're learning something where you go, am I doing this right? I'm not sure, am I doing it right? You don't have time to think about that, so you will sort of learn through repetition and sort of doing it again and again.
It was just amazing to just watch them grow. They learn to become a real proper team, just trust in themselves and just let go and just be confident enough to try it.
The most important bit for us was what's called the qualitative research. So that's where you speak to people and you want to know the depth of the experience they had while they were doing the Taiko drumming. And what we found was, yes, it positively impacted their mental health, it positively impacted their emotional health, it positively impacted their social health, and it positively impacted their physical health.
I think the learning of a new skill and the way Fiona teaches it can give you confidence in yourself. For me, because of the way my chair sits, I actually have to sit forward in order to play the drums, so I get a good workout in my waist as much as in my arms.
I remember I came here one day and I was like freezing cold, but I was in such a foul mood, honestly. I was just banging on that drum. Honestly, I didn't leave here in a foul mood. I was just like full of like dopamine and endorphins.
It's the visceral nature of Taiko drumming. You're in a room, the sound, the feeling, the vibrations of these drums. You're in community with the people that you're playing with. It's just I think it's just the most amazing feeling in the world when you're playing Taiko.
When we were first learning the pieces and we were putting it all together, and it just sounded like we were hitting drums and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then we got together with the other group came in, and the feeling that you got when everybody played the drums in sync and everybody's arms were in sync and everybody just looked, like from my perspective, everybody looked class. They looked so good, and it was a good feeling playing with a group. Like,
it's quite easy to make sort of friends here. It's very easy to sort of get to know people here, and I think it's sort of a very friendly atmosphere.
I've only been in Derry 5 years, and 2 of those years were pandemic years, so I'll be honest, I have experienced social isolation like quite a lot. So it's been great for me to come and meet like-minded people, because I'm a nerd and it's really hard to find other nerds in this city.
Social isolation it's a huge problem, and it's a hard one to solve, and particularly after COVID, people have become more and more isolated. When you think about mental health and all the things that affect it, it really is in what we do every day. The answers are the lie in our habits and what we do regularly. So you're going in and you're doing some exercise, and they spoke about this kind of strange way that it both energised you and made you exhausted. So you were energised just with the vitality of life and you really came out buzzing, but you were also really tired, so it also helps you to sleep.
It is that sort of like process where we're all working together to do one thing. It's quite the sort of like social experience. It's quite good weirdly for your sort of social battery, because you think that it would actually drain, but it's because you be in a sort of relaxed atmosphere, people a lot more, that you're quite good then at like sort of being a bit more relaxed in other places and like.
There's something about taiko drumming that attracts all sorts of different people, and it was the inclusivity of taiko drumming came out really strongly, which was something that we didn't really expect. How people described when they came into the room with people with physical disabilities as well. The way that Fiona facilitates, people just come in and it just happens and you're just accommodated and you're not focused on, and you just get on with it, and it can all be done in a way that suits people from different needs.
We performed last year's Christmas show and at the final one, which was fantastic.
It is very exciting. Like, I think that sort of show everyone else you're sort of like what you've been working at, that you haven't just been sitting in a room doing nothing for a number of months.
It's quite some achievement to get up on stage, and we have a big community festival and everybody's nervous and you work for weeks and weeks together, you put in all the effort, you come to rehearsals, you're tired, you're there, and all the nerves are going.
They also spoke about bringing their family along to watch them performing and the pride that they felt in performing and how much their families enjoyed it, and it was lovely for them to share that with their families too. There's just something about the sound. It's just so powerful. It's just part of our DNA, and it just moves people.
We would be really interested in trying to see how we can work with people with dementia, for example, or with Parkinson's. And it's just so interesting to see how this art form can be made accessible for everyone, and actually is having a really, really positive and beneficial impact on people's lives.
One man said to me that he actually came along and he was planning to go to the Brandywell to watch Derry City, and he enjoyed it so much he stayed and did the taiko.
Just everything about taiko is a really good release. It's been an outlet as such, and I don't give it up for anybody on a Tuesday night.
It is fun, it's interesting, it's social, it's a bit of everything, and I think that's what works for it.
It's helped me become a more positive person, definitely.